And then finally, NFC East. This division, I don't think is going to be very good. Again, remember how bad this division was last year? It's not going to be that bad this year. But I think there's still two teams that are grossly behind the rest of the division. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, get your laughs in and get your wins in now. This is the last year this shit is going down like this because the Giants are going to be much better next year, and so are the Washington football team. All right, both of those teams are going to be, I'm not even going to speak for the Giants. I'm going to speak for my boys. We're going to be damn good in 2021. I'm just letting you know. And we're going to put some teams on notice this year. And I'm so excited for the season that I really think that this team has a chance to be a little bit better than even I thought initially. That being said, this is still not a good division, okay? At the end of the day, this is a division that's going to struggle this year, and they play the NFC West and the AFC North, two really good divisions, and I think they're going to struggle, bottom line. And so, to me, it's a two-team race like it was last year. Eagles, Cowboys are going to be ahead of this division. I think the Giants and Washington are going to be struggling for the right to stay out of the cellar. But at the end of the day, the Eagles were 9-7 last year, but 5 of those wins came in the division. They were 5-1 in the division last year. I mean, this division was god-awful last year. Cowboys were 8-8. They were 5-1 in the division. So think about that. The Cowboys won 8 games, 5 of which came in the division last year. The Eagles won 9 games, 5 of which came in the division last year. Like, they couldn't beat anybody else outside of the division, essentially. Hell, the Eagles even lost to the Dolphins last year. I mean, it was a bad division. The Cowboys lost to the Jets. You know, like, we were a terrible division. The Bills embarrassed them on Thanksgiving last year. It was a joke. The Giants were 4-12. They were 2-4. At least they won a game in the division last year. They were 2-4 in the division. And, of course, my boys, man, it was a rough year, but we got a prize out of it. 3-13, 0-6. I can't tell you the last time we didn't win a single game in the division. Probably happened 3 years ago. I mean, you know, every time I say that, you go back and like, oh, it just happened in 2014. You know, like that was rough though. Not beating a single team in the division is rough. That's not going to happen this year, however. But you look at this division. You start with the Eagles. I think the injuries are already starting in Philadelphia. Wentz hasn't been able to stay healthy for a full 16-game slate. I don't think since his rookie season, if he even stayed healthy for a full 16 that year. I just think that this team, while it's talented, they're an older team. I think they've got some guys that just seem to always find the pink room. I think that this is a team that's just going to be battling injuries all year long. But if Wentz is under center, they've got a shot. I still like the Eagles to be hyper competitive, and I think they're going to do the same thing they did last year, go 9-7, and that's going to give them a chance to compete. The Cowboys, I think, are the class of this division, however. From a talent standpoint, you could argue the Cowboys are the best team in the division. I look at the Cowboys, and I think that this is a team that could compete with anybody in the league talent-wise. I'd put their wide receiving core up against anybody's in the league. I put their running back position up against most teams in the league. You know, Zeke Elliott being the lead dog there. I thought Tony Pollard did some extraordinary things last year as a backup running back. I like Blake Jarwin at the tight end position. Offensive line-wise, they're good. I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks. I think they're a little overrated offensive line-wise, but they're still good. Like, Dak Prescott took his game to another level last year, and I think he's going to continue to play good ball in a contract year. Their offense is lights out. You don't have to like the Cowboys, but you will respect their offense. Defensively, I don't know if I'm buying what they're selling with their defensive ends. I still need to see Aldon Smith, but I've heard nothing but great things about him in camp and how he looks like the Aldon Smith of old. They get Randy Gregory off of suspension back. They go out and get Everson Griffin, and they still got Tank Lawrence. That's a hell of a foursome, guys. Now, inside, they lose Gerald McCoy. That's a devastating blow. You still got Dontari Poe and some other guys that you like inside to mix it up. The linebackers, we know how good they are when they're healthy. Jalen Smith and company, my goodness. Leighton Vander Esch, you can't find a better twosome in the league when those boys are right. The secondary is where I have question marks. That's where I look at the Cowboys. I say, aha, that's where you have a weakness. That could be your Achilles heel. Similar to what I said with Minnesota and some of these other teams that have a young secondary. That's where the Cowboys could struggle. If their secondary, if the front four isn't getting pressure, the secondary could struggle. But at the end of the day, there's just too much talent here. And Mike McCarthy, say what you want about him. I don't love him as a head coach. I don't think he's great. However, he's an upgrade over Redhead Jesus. And they're going to win some ball games. They're a good football team, man. They're good enough to win the Super Bowl. They're that good from a talent perspective. But they always find a way to F it up because of Jerry Jones and company. And they'll do that again this year. But they're going to win this division at 11-5. They're a damn good football team on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm convinced of it. And so, got them winning the division and qualifying for the postseason. The Giants were 4-12 last year. I don't see them being that much better. I don't like their roster. I mean, I've talked to some people like, oh, the Giants have gotten so much better. Really? They have? Where? What am I supposed to be excited? Am I supposed to be excited about Blake Martinez? What am I supposed to be excited about? Is Leonard Williams supposed to all of a sudden tear it up a full year as a Giant now? Like, what am I? David Mayo, big glob of Mayo. I'm supposed to get excited about that. He's already banged up. I thought they stole Xavier McKinney. Well, he's already banged up. Like, what am I supposed to get excited about with the Giants on the defensive side of the football? I don't know. And then when I look at the offensive side of the football, and oh, by the way, one of your first round picks from last year, no longer on the team. Like, I'm not feeling the Giants roster. And I didn't think they did enough at receiver. That was one of my biggest knocks on their draft is like, seriously? You're going to roll with Darius Slayton, as a guy that you're going to say is, if not our number one, because we really believe in Sterling Shepard, we're going to roll with him as our legit number two. I just thought that they could have done more. They got every Ohio State undrafted wide receiver that they could find. It's not good enough for me. Now, Saquon Barkley, much like I said with Christian McCaffrey, he's good for about 2 wins by his damn self. And I really like their head coach, Joe Judge. I think he gets it. I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan, but I don't think he's trash either. I think I might have been wrong about Daniel Jones. We'll see. This is a big year for him. At the end of the day, I think that the Giants aren't that good of a football team yet, but they're going to learn. I think they're going to figure out what Joe Judge is looking for. I think they're going to weed out all the players that don't help. And then I think they're going to be a problem next year. If Daniel Jones is good and he follows up that impressive rookie season with another good campaign, I think they could be a dangerous team in 2021. Not so much in 2020. 5-11 for the New York Football Giants. And then finally, Washington Football Team. I've been steadfast on 6-10 the entire offseason. And I've followed this team very closely, obviously me being a fan. And I think that Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio and this defense and all of the weapons that we think we may have, I think we're still lacking at the receiver position, definitely at tight end. A lot of holes on this roster still. Offensive line is a question mark going into the season as well. And 6-10, 5-11, definitely on the table here. But something tells me we're going to win an extra game that I didn't account for when I looked at the schedule initially. I think this team has a chance to go 7-9 this season. I probably should stick to my 6-10 prediction, but I think 7-9 is within reach. So I'm going to go with 7-9 against my better judgment. I probably should go 6-10 because that's what I've been saying all offseason. And that's probably more along the lines, but I can't see Rivera coaching a double-digit loss outfit, even in his first year in Washington. I just don't see it happening. Even with all the mess that he had going on in Carolina last year and all the quarterbacks that he was cycling through and having to deal with Kyle Allen and all of his turnovers, if he didn't get fired, I think they would have won 7 games last year. I felt like they were capable of doing that, but that's nor here nor there. At the end of the day, I think this team, I think Dwayne Haskins, the key here is I think the defense is going to be phenomenal, and I think Dwayne Haskins has a chance to really quiet the naysayers and doubters, and I think he has once and for all a chance to prove that he is the franchise quarterback in Washington, and I think he's going to do that. And so because of all of those things kind of lining up with one another, I think they're going to be in ball games. I think they're a young team. They're not going to know how to win. They're going to lose some games that they're right there in, some games that they jump out to a lead in. And I think they're going to find a way to end up 6-10, 7-9, somewhere in there. I've got them at 7-9. Probably should have stuck with 6-10, but I'm going to go with 7-9. And so when you look at this division as a whole, Cowboys win the division at 11-5, make it to the postseason. Eagles miss out on the postseason at 9-7. The Washington football team finishes at third, 7-9. Giants bring up the rear at 5-11.
Louie T.